What's going on YouTube? Today we are going to be talking about the bearish sentiment in the market. And when I say the bearish sentiment, we're talking about the crypto market and the stock market sort of falling down. So we're going to look at two charts that are going to be our indicators on how to move in these markets and what to look out for. Those two charts are going to be SPY and they're going to be Bitcoin. So if you're new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with a friend that may invest or don't know to invest. But before we get into the video, remember, as always, when there's red on the charts, that does not mean panic. That means it's time to accumulate. That's time to buy more. So we're going to look at these charts, and even though we're going to say the term crashing and bearish, that does not signify a bad thing. Okay, so let's get that in our heads before we even dive into this video. All right, everyone, so first things first, we're going to be looking at the SPY charts, ticker symbol SPY. If you don't know what SPY is, it is an ETF of the S&P 500. So this is what we kind of come to look at and what I personally like to day trade, because this is an indicator of that sector, right? So as you see right here, we are on the daily time frame, meaning we are looking at each candle that represents a day part. Okay, so as you see, this red candle is today, Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. Look in the bottom right, I am on the West Coast, so it is 122. Market just closed 22 minutes ago. Okay, so let's do some homework on how these last couple of days have been going. Okay, so you see, to start the week off, we were a little bit bullish. We had a green week. We went all the way up. We closed pretty high. And then Tuesday, we had a sell-off. You know, we had a big red candle. We came down. This was that previous day low. We came into January support, and we still closed above, but we also closed into this previous week support. That is key, okay? Then today we formed a lower low into January support. And not only that, we also closed again inside of this previous week support after retesting. Okay, all right, so I don't want to sound like I'm speaking a foreign language. Basically what we're looking at is when price pulled down. So we've been having this massive sell-off, and you might see headlines of people saying, oh, we're bearish, the market's crashing, this is the beginning of an end. Of course, people are going to fear monger you, always remember that. But we want to see where is price coming to, as far as where is it heading, and if it continues to go down, where could we possibly go down and retest, and if it does go up, where could we potentially go up to? Okay, the significance of it forming a lower low today means tomorrow on Thursday right here, we're going to see if we form another lower low into this January support. Okay, so the reason why we got the January support is because we come to this month candle of January, and for the bottom half we look at the open to the wick, and we mark that zone as January support. And then for resistance, we do the same thing but in the opposite light. So we look at the close up into its highest wick, and that's how we form resistance. Okay, and we mark that out going into the next month so that we could watch price. Okay, so now we're on the previous week candle, and we look at this same thing. We mark out the open to the low, and we mark that, and we do the same thing up here. Okay, so now we've been forming lower lows, meaning price has been coming down in the bearish slump. So we started up here at 696, and we've had a sell-off, and then we actually wicked down here to 681. Okay, forming lower lows on the daily candle in these past 2 days. There's multiple ways you could play this from the investor point of view and the day trader point of view. Okay, these last couple of days I've been in shorts, so I've been day trading shorts because obviously the market's been coming down. Okay, but this could be another day you go long as well, knowing that once we get to this bottom of this support zone, we could potentially go back to retest resistance. So that could be like a good 1 week to 2 week swing play if you have the capital for that, right? And another thing is as well, we noticed that this 100 EMA is slowly creeping up to January support. So my head, I'm going to tell myself like, okay, we could potentially form another lower low into this January support, and potentially if we break January support, retest this 100 EMA on the daily chart. Now, if we retest this 100 EMA, we could look at previous structure of it. Okay, what happens when price hits it? It smacks the EMA and it runs up. Last time it touched this EMA was November 25th, and it ran up. Last time before that, it was playing on this EMA when it was under the EMA back in April after that crash, remember, and it touched it, and we ran all the way up since, okay? So we only touched the EMA twice in the last, year and a half between April 2025 and today. So we could potentially be coming down to retest this 100 EMA. Now, this is not a price prediction. This is not a guess. This is chart work. Us looking at the charts, us analyzing, us becoming thesis for both ways, okay? So now we have a thesis for if the S&P, aka SPY, does continue to have bearish sentiment. Now let's make a thesis for if SPY decides to go up and have a reversal. So if SPY were to do a reversal, we would need for it to break out of one of these zones, okay? Not only do we want to see a break out of a zone, but we also want to see a retest and some continuation, okay? And we're going to talk about our smaller time frames right now, but we want to see it get above these EMAs. You see right here, these EMAs are gearing them to cross, so we could potentially have a death cross if we form another lower low, which could potentially bring us down to this EMA. And with that being said, we switch over to our 4-hour chart. This is how we could know if we see a reversal soon. So we might not even get to the point of retesting the bottom of this box and making it to that 100 EMA on the day chart, because we are currently testing this 4-hour 100 EMA, okay? The 100 EMA is the 100 exponential moving average, signifying the structure of the chart itself, the structure of the market itself. If everything was going as planned and we were moving, we as in investors, retail and smart money, was moving as the charts were predicted for the structure, this is where we be trading, and that's exactly where we are. So on this 4-hour chart, we're testing this EMA. So we could potentially bounce up back to this previous week resistance and shooting back up, or, and that's a big or we could break under this EMA right here on the 4-hour chart, which could signify and trigger that we are going to test the bottom of this support zone to that 100 EMA on the day chart that sits right under this box, okay? So that is some things to keep our eye out on. So as we're on the 1-hour chart, you could already see we came under the 100 EMA on this 1-hour chart today, okay? We slid under on Tuesday, okay? To start today, we came up, we retested that on the 1-hour chart, and we came back down under. So we have officially lost the 100 EMA on the 1-hour chart, but we could potentially see another retest as it bounces off of this 1-hour EMA and this 4-hour EMA. You see the 1-hour EMA is at 690 and the 4-hour EMA is at 684.92. This blue right here, okay? So that is the range that we're going to be looking for a breakout to know whether it's a bullish continuation or it's a bearish continuation, okay? And then looking at this 15-minute chart as well, you see we're underneath the EMA here as well, which is very close to the 1-hour EMA. All right, so we're just going to keep our eye on this 15-minute, 5-minute, 3-minute, 1-minute. Those are more of my intraday charts I look at. 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month is more of my long-term structure, so I know what's to come and I have a game plan for my intraday trades. All right, and real quick, we're going to touch over Bitcoin as well, because as we know, the crypto markets have been coming down as well, which is a good thing, buy. So we're looking at Bitcoin sitting at 73,000 at the time of this video. You see this is actually still moving. It's 132. And we're forming lower lows on the day chart. So we could potentially continue to fall down. And you see we're breaking back into this structure that I have here. Okay, so to start the year, we were in this structure. From October all-time highs, we came all the way down. But to start the year, we broke out of it. And we almost were able to break above that 100 EMA on the daily chart, but that next day seller steps back in and we've been on the downtrend since, and we're almost back into this range, okay? So if we could close in this range and retest this same line and break down, we could potentially be taking Bitcoin down to this box right here, this liquidity box, this 50K, 52K through 49K, okay? And how do you get this box? We look at previous information, okay? We had little sellers right here. We ran up, we came back down, retested this box, ran up, retested this box, ran up, okay? So that is how we map this out. And this was all back in 2024. before we have a big run up, Bitcoin touching back to the 100Ks and onward, we could potentially see price come down to 50,000, which will be an ultimate buy zone. Okay, so we'll continue to watch price break into this structure, and we'll continue to see how Bitcoin performs. Coming over to the week chart, okay, we are officially under the 100 EMA from last week. Okay, we clicked it 2 weeks ago. Last week we came under and we kind of got back up, but we closed under the EMA. This was going to be the retest candle since this was an official close. So we'll see if sometime this week buyers could step in and bring this price up and test this EMA back to 80K. If not, and we cannot form any sort of retest of it itself, and we continue having lower lows and we close red, then we have bearish sentiment down to the floor. Remember, this is a good thing. A lot of people will start trying to fearmonger you and tell you that Bitcoin's out of style and that it's the end of it. Do not believe that, because around here we have conviction and we know the future of finance. Okay, when we're investing in Bitcoin and we're investing in these other altcoins that are utility tokens such as XRP or ZBCN or XLM or ALGO, we know what the future of finance is. We know that we're going to be moving to blockchains, and we also know that stable coins is going to be the future of the digital money. So with all that being said, we cannot get tricked out of our position for the wealth transfer because of short-term volatility, okay? Because of the short-term noise, okay? Bitcoin always has these cycles where it goes up and it comes down. Since Bitcoin was at 100,000, okay, yeah, it came down 30,000. Yeah, it's going to come down another 20,000. But that is the equivalent to another stock going down $15, okay, going down $20. It is what it is. And when we know the game plan and we know the future of finance, we should be rubbing our hands like this. Like, okay, cool. Bitcoin is on sale. I could buy some more for a cheaper price. Okay, now it's going to be easier at 50K to get to 0.1 than it is at 100K to get to 0.1. So we're looking at these charts, we're forming our thesis, we're looking at buy zones, and we're rubbing our hands like, how could I get more and more and more, and where is the cheapest price going to be, okay? So as long as we're under this 100 EMA on this weekly chart, and we're under this 100 EMA on this daily chart, we could continue to rub our hands, okay? Whatever it is for your finance, okay? If it's $10, if it's $20 a week, $500 a check, whatever it looks like for you, you know what I mean? Invest into your assets. It doesn't even have to only be Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is the digital gold, so this is the safe investment in the crypto realm, but it could also be any altcoins as well, because the whole crypto market is down. I won't touch on those other tokens, but let's look. We could scroll through. Look, XRP is down. ZBCN coming down. Great prices right here. ALGO also down. HBAR down. XDC down. XLM down. CMC20 down. This is the things we want to see when we are trying to maximize our gains. We want to buy low and we want to sell high, okay? Do not get trapped. Do not get tricked out of your position for generational wealth. All right. With all of that being said, we're going to wrap this video up, okay? Once again, thanks for tuning in for Chartwork 101 as the market's coming down. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you're new, send this to a friend that may not understand the charts or may not understand the cycle. And let me know what else y'all want me to make some videos on.